Welcome to Martial Arts Explorer, exploring practical technique as revealed in classical martial arts of all styles. I'm Scott Combs. We have another new segment to debut this time. It's called China Way. Our friends at the YMAA Publication Center are helping us bring a Chinese point of view to the show, and we couldn't be happier about it. The YMAA Publication Center has published over 70 books and dozens of best-selling video titles about Chinese martial arts and Qigong. Personally, I'm a big fan of Dr. Yang Ming, and I think you will be too. Pay special attention, and later I'll tell you how you can get cash back when ordering YMAA products. We have a health and wellness update and an explorer segment where Michael demonstrates a basic use for a chambered knife hand strike.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for joining us. We've had some requests for some going over basic moves, and sometimes we're getting a little advanced, so we're slowing it down a little bit, the last episode and maybe the next couple here and there. And we're going to be looking at chambered knife hand, and we're doing it on a step. So as I'm standing in one position, I'm chambering and stepping forward to the next move. It happens all over the place in many different styles and many different types of forms. Tom's going to come in and join me. And one thing you should note if you're new to the show, we often work on a touch situation or beginning of an encounter. I don't wait till he's already throwing 2 or 3 punches at me. I want to react right away, and so often there's a setup. In this case, we're working the setup off the push. And sometimes it's a finger in your face, sometimes it's a grab, any type of light motion, and I want to start to defend myself. I don't want to wait until I get hit before I react. So we're starting from here. Now, I chamber, and a lot of times the chamber is just considered a wind-up. We like to look beyond that and say, well, why would I waste emotion on something if it's not going to do anything? So the chamber becomes part of our move. So he winds up, he's got a hand on me, he's probably looking to strike me or he's pushing me, something of that matter here. So he's in here, I make my chamber motion, any type of X motion works as a chamber. I'm going to trap the hand, and I'm going to come across, and I'm going to strike down and in on the top of the outside of the arm here. And this is large intestine 10 for acupressure. And what you want to do, it is on the top edge, coming in and across. So I want to strike in towards the bone. I also give a little twist back towards the hand as I strike, and you're going to watch the body come and move. The head shifts forward, the body comes in, the shoulder and body turns away. Now the great thing is, if I miss that point, it doesn't matter, because even if I just hit right on the elbow, the body still moves basically the same. If I hit on the point of large intestine 10, I get a little better reaction. That's all we're looking for. When I use pressure points personally, I don't try for something really small and esoteric. I want to try for a general idea that's backed up with body mechanics. So I'm using a point that's also available by just hitting the elbow. So therefore, if I get it right, it's even better. If I don't, I still have something. I'm not stuck, which is so important. So as this hand comes up, I don't want to stand in here. I'm going to move to the outside. We like moving to that 45. Trap, step, and strike. Bang. Here's this chamber. Now I said we were stepping forward, but I don't really have the room. So what I do is I shift my hip, and I come across, and here's my strike coming up. I'm using that same knife hand position. Remember, anywhere down this part of the face and jaw is a great spot to hit. I'm actually going to aim up into gallbladder 20, which is up into the back of the head, which can give me a pressure point stun sometimes. And we went over this earlier, so I'm not going to go into in depth on it a lot. You guys can check back in the previous episodes to see. So the hand comes up, touch, strike. Here, now I said we were stepping forward, is slightly out of order, but if I was going to step forward, there's no room. But I can come up and I can start to work a kick, or more likely, my step forward is just going to become a knee strike. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to drive my knee in to help knock him down. If he's on the ground, it gives me my chance to leave, which is what we're looking for. I don't want to have to stay and break every bone in his body. I don't want to get in trouble for that. I want him to be down the ground. It gives me my chance to escape. So, touch, grab, wind up, pop, strike, strike again. He's probably going to fall down. If not, I'm so far behind him, it just doesn't matter, and I'm my way out the door after that. Thanks, Tom. We're going to get to class. Let everybody give this a try. All right, guys, we're going to take a look at a stepping chambered knife hand. So if I'm in one position, I'm chambering and landing. It happens in so many different forms, some of ours, and in many other styles too. Kelly, can I use you for a second? All right, now we're working off of a push wind-up position. So they're in here. If the backhand's coming, it makes it even more important that we get it right, but if it's not, the move still works the same. From here, what you want to do is we're going to trap, and then we're going to strike large intestine 10, which comes in this way. This is our chamber motion. We use this so many times. Come in from the top and strike into the muscle. Give a slight rake back towards the hand when you strike helps, all right? Stretches that point out. Now I also want to move off to the 45 to get me out of the way of this hand even more. If I strike correctly, it rolls the body forward, which makes it very hard for this punch to come. If this punch is coming, okay, go ahead. It moves me out of the way, and it also turns the body in here so this punch can't follow through as easily. Now, I'm not saying that someone very strong and fast isn't going to be able to move through you. It does take some practice to get it right. But make sure this strike comes in here. A lot of people like to come straight down. It actually typically works better because the position of the arm is this direction, so my angle is now here. It's always relative to the body. If the arm is turned up, now my position is more on top, but typically most people's arm rotates in such a direction that it's here. So we cut across and step out. Trap, step, twist the hip. So we're stepping and striking in the forearms, but what I'm doing here is I'm combining the motion. So as I'm moving, I'm striking one, and then I would finish my step. Well, my step can become a knee strike, or it can become a kick if you prefer, or a stomp or something coming in this way. So we're moving here as we come across the bodies. All right, guys. Jump to the partners and give it a try. Strike. You want to strike down large intestine 10, come across. Remember, a little more diagonal on the outside. Good. Strike with the other hand. Knife hand, and follow with a kick or a knee strike. Bang. Very nice. You're getting it. Good. Good. Nice twist. Good. And now then that works just fine in the situation I was doing. I was using my other hand. Yep.
Yeah. I hold this one and I just.
Right. Because it's nice because you get the trap. So if you're in here, part of the reason you do it is because I come in here, this just helps hold it down, which tips the head out and bang, there's just such a great shot right there. Yeah. I follow in here and I'm gone. But it does work the other way. So if for whatever reason you automatically move the other way, that's fine. You come in with one and then go ahead and, sorry, boom, boom. It's just, you're almost doing more of a rising counter at that point, but they both work the same. All right, guys. Great beginning technique right there. All it is a stepping chambered knife hand. George, can you jump in real quick? One thing I want you guys to watch out for, if you're doing this, and if the guy locks his arm out really straight, now this is more for when you're practicing. If the arm is here and you go to do this and you come across it, and the point is just in front of the elbow right into here. If the arm is straight, you have a really good potential for hurting your partner. So make sure when you're just practicing, there's a slight bend which allows the arm to bend and come on the inside. Now, if it's on the street, it doesn't really matter. You just hit it, you just go. So you come up and bang. But when you're practicing in the studios, be careful, make sure this has a little bend to it so you're not hurting anybody. And make sure you give this twist back. Hitting down is great, giving this little twist in just helps pull them forward that much quicker and that much faster. George. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna kick you back out to Scott.
Most of us would agree cleaner is better, but some are concerned that our super clean world of vaccinations, antibacterial soaps, and airtight doors and windows that keep dirt and disease-causing germs at bay might be responsible for an increase in allergies among children. It's called the Hygiene Hypothesis, according to Dr. Mark McMorris, a pediatric allergist at the University of Michigan Health System.
The Hygiene Hypothesis is the hypothesis that as a society we've developed a cleanlier lifestyle. We no longer fight bacteria, we no longer fight germs. We have less infectious issues to deal with, and therefore the immune system has shifted away from fighting infection to more assimilating with allergens and causing more allergic tendencies. There's probably some drawback to being too clean. I think that we probably overprotect our children from dirt and from germs, much more so than we did in prior generations, and that's certainly a product of our country.
So is there a way to find a balance in our super clean world? According to McMorris, finding a balance between healthy living and clean living may be a challenge. Dr. McMorris suggests changing our furnace filters regularly and keeping allergens like mold out of attics and basements. Ultimately, the doctor advises parents to just let kids be kids. Let them play outside and with friends, and don't worry about them coming into contact with dirt and germs. But always be cautious with children who have life-threatening food allergies. We've all heard the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. What about a salad? Eating just one salad a day provides even greater health benefits than previously thought. It's the finding of a study from the University of California, Los Angeles. Lead researcher Dr. Lenore Arab examined the diets of 17,000 adults.
The study showed that salad eaters tend to have higher intakes of essential nutrients such as vitamin C and E and folic acid, which is really quite significant because many of us are not getting nearly enough of them.
In fact, evidence shows that approximately 80% of U.S. women aren't taking in enough of these nutrients, and that insufficient levels can lead to issues such as cardiovascular disease. But eating just one salad every day is associated with an increase in vitamins that can boost overall health.
What's interesting here is that the fat in salad dressing may also be doing some good. It helps the body absorb many nutrients such as alpha, beta carotene, and lycopene.
That's in line with earlier findings that the fat found in salad dressing can enhance the absorption of these cancer-fighting nutrients. The UCLA study is being published in the September issue of the Journal of the American Dietetic Association.
Relaxing in the bright sunshine of a warm day does more than lift your spirits. It also stimulates your body to produce huge amounts of vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin at all, but rather a versatile hormone produced by the body in response to sunlight. When a person's exposed to the sun, a cascade of chemical reactions begins in the skin and converts vitamin D produced in the skin into the active form of vitamin D through further modification in the liver and kidneys.
There aren't many days that you won't find Bill McLaughlin strapping on his helmet and climbing onto his bike. Bill is a competitive cyclist who rides more than 5,000 miles a year, partly to stay in shape, partly to experience life at a little slower pace.
The more I rode, the more I realized that the beautiful countryside we have in western New York and all over. I've been 8 or 9 states, several countries, and it's just a beautiful way to see the world.
But there may be even more benefits to riding that Bill wasn't even aware of. Bill is a prostate cancer survivor, and experts believe that exercise and his limited exposure to the sun are important to his health. Dr. Candace Johnson of Roswell Park Cancer Institute in Buffalo says that when you're exposed to sunlight, your body creates vitamin D. And in the lab, vitamin D has been shown to be a potential cancer killer.
And it can cause the cells to either stop growing and just arrest or just sit and not grow and divide, or it can actually kill the tumor cells very specifically.
To see if the same holds true in humans, Dr. Johnson is working with Dr. Donald Trump, who is giving patients like Bill high-dose vitamin D pills to see how it affects prostate cancer. Although pills are just the first approach.
We've already begun planning for trials in head and neck cancer, perhaps leukemia, and we are now beginning trials here at Roswell Park that will use this drug given intravenously with chemotherapy.
Until researchers can determine if vitamin D can help battle cancer, Bill says he will still spend time riding his bike and enjoying the sun, hoping that getting vitamin D the natural way can keep him on the road to recovery.
Researchers have known for a long time that vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium to build strong bones and teeth. Vitamin D also helps to strengthen the immune system and seems to protect against some types of cancers, as well as other diseases. Scientists and researchers worldwide are working to understand and capitalize on the process to prevent and/or treat as many as 17 types of cancer. Dr. Yang Ming is an acclaimed author and teacher of Kung Fu, Tai Chi Chuan, and Qina grappling, and a leading authority on Qigong. Dr. Yang has published over 30 books and 50 videos and DVDs. His work has been translated into many foreign languages, including French, Italian, Spanish, Polish, Hungarian, Dutch, Czech, Bulgarian, and Russian. Dr. Yang was named by Inside Kung Fu magazine as one of the people who has made the greatest impact on martial arts in the past 100 years. He was also named Man of the Year in 2007. This time, Dr. Yang discusses the definition of Chinese martial arts and how it has evolved.
Hello. Today I would like to talk about a subject, talk about how the Chinese martial arts name was derived through Chinese history. All these names through the times, they're called differently. And these names often bring the Western society very confusing idea. Okay, now we try to see the earliest record I can record back is to talk about, go back to 300 BC. At that time, martial arts is commonly called ji ji. You look at the word ji, that means skill or technique. Ji is attacking. So I talk about attacking skill at that time. So obviously, you can see from the words, at that time, they emphasize a lot of attacking instead of defensive. Again, because they talk about 300 BC, at that time, China was in chaos situations. At that time, so many small countries attacking each other. So at that time, it's not talking about more defensive, it's more talking about try to conquer. All right, then slowly, we go to next stage. About 230 AD, let's talk about almost 1800 years ago. At that time they call Wu Yi. Wu again, Wu is called martial. Yi is arts. So actually martial arts supposed to call Wu Yi instead of what commonly called Wushu today. So here we have to interpret this Wu because now these words start appear. If you look at these words, you can see Wu actually divided by two words, because this one was constructed by two words. One word is called stop. The ge is a Chinese ancient weapon. Zi ge, you see these two words become one word. So that's eventually, that's called stop the weapons. Stop the weapon, that means martial art at that time, they emphasize is use martial arts to stop the fighting. So that's why there's a word, a proverb in Chinese say, 子歌, that means these two words, 为武, that means 子歌, stop the weapon, that means the martials. So martial arts is use the force to stop the violence. It's not to use martial arts or use the force to conquer other people. Once you understand now, you can see from the history, Wu Yi, they can see is a stop the weapon. Yi is a martial art or the art to stop the weapons. So they become a martial arts. So become more defensive at that time. So they emphasize more defensive because the time is different. Now China has more period, long period of a peaceful time. Then later, it come to 500 AD. 500 AD at that time is actually about 1600 years ago. Around that time, in Chinese, Nancao, at that time, the words Wushu start appear. Wushu, again, this Wu is called stop the weapon. The Su is a technique or skill. So that means the skill of a martial art or skill of the fighting skill. So that's what we call Wushu. Remember, this is different from earlier we talked about Wu Yi. Because Wu Yi, if you compare these two words, is a different. Wushu is a martial skill. Wu Yi is martial arts. Then people start talking about what is the difference. Then because this one always make people confused. Because Wushu a lot of time is emphasize more the technique, how the skill will be carried out. What is the technique look like, how effective it is. But you talk about Wu Yi is art. Remember, art. Su is mean it manifests outside. It already shown. Yi, no, it's art. It's a feeling. So includes the Wu Yi talking about the strategy and the tactics or the thinking, both mentally and physically. Not only that, we talk about the big battlefields. Wushu more emphasize more individuals' fighting skill, but we more talk about both fighting skill individually or talk about the armies fighting. So we talking about archery, talk about horseback riding, and talk about how to defend the war, how about strategy, how to set up the army. All this considered Wu Yi. So you can see Wushu basically is part of Wu Yi. Wu Yi includes more wide definitions of anything. Okay, you look back to Chinese history. So now Wushu become more common. That's because this Wushu later has been recalled or been emphasized in Chinese Qing dynasty, because Qing dynasty actually only about 200-300 years ago. But this Wushu later mainland China taken over by Communist Party, then they commonly use Wushu. So this Wushu become very commonly used today. A lot of people know what is Wushu. But question now, in 1960s, 70s, China started modify traditional Chinese martial arts. So these are also called Wushu. Doesn't make people confused, because at that time, the emphasis martial art is for performance. It's emphasized more for the performance, only for showing. And the basic fighting skill or defensive skill slowly, gradually been ignored. So because the reason they start consider called modern Wushu or called contemporary Wushu. The contemporary Wushu or modern Wushu, they emphasize the beauty of the arts and like a more acrobatic skill size instead of actually fighting combat or capabilities. So now China started going back, slowly going back to traditional Wushu, because they realized they had to go back to the root, original root. That's a traditional Chinese Wushu. So don't get confused when you talk about Wushu now today. You have to define is a modern Wushu or contemporary Wushu or traditional Wushu. Without that words in front, then you cannot tell the difference.
If you're interested in some great material by Dr. Yang and other terrific martial artists, you can search Barnes & Noble for Yang Xuingming. Oh, and if you'd like cash back every time you shop at Barnes & Noble, all you have to do is use our shopping portal at greenbackstreet.com/explorerstore. Or if asked, use promo code 79878. It's that easy. Be sure to practice carefully, because we're not responsible for any injuries that might occur if you try any of the techniques we demonstrate at home. We love getting email from you. Please send it to explorer@martialartsexplorer.tv. For Martial Arts Explorer and Michael Kleinepier, I'm Scott Combs.